Good comment. Jack, how are you?
Hello.
Hi.
Where's Ernie?
Right here.
Oh, it's Ernie Sochin. I finally got a chance to speak to you.
Yes, you did.
You're a real star in my condominium.
Oh, I know who this is.
You don't.
FC.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is. I know the voice.
It isn't.
Well, go ahead anyway.
This is Jack. No, really, I wanted to know why you don't replace that Buddy McCallum. Seriously.
I don't think I'd necessarily want to replace her, but I agree with you that I'd like to be on more than I am.
I think it would be wonderful, like, if you could be, like, from 3 to 5.
Why don't you send a massive letter-writing campaign to the station?
I mean, not in the afternoon, in the morning.
In the morning? What a shot.
Have all those news people so they can, everybody will have a big lead-in for the news. I think it would be great, and then they could have Daffy doing 5 in the morning to 5:05 in the morning.
And then what would you do, have Neil on for 12 hours a day?
No, I would have him rerun his show at night.
Rerun his show? You know something, that might be the best thing they could do. I think it would be better than what's on there now.
You could do like play-by-play with the callers.
Yeah.
Interject every few callers and we'll fake it. By the way, I saw you in that community theater play. And that friend who you had on, he sounded like one of the actors.
Isn't that an incredible coincidence?
Yes.
Isn't that something? He sounded like one of the actors in a community theater play.
Yes, my dog is a big fan of yours.
Say woof to him, would you?
Yes, we had a lot of barking before you came on, and that was probably...
Was that your dog barking before?
I don't know. I don't...
I heard
my dog ran away. He was chasing the mailman.
Oh, yeah?
I gotta say to you, I think you should replace Buddy McCallum. Buddy should become. They should promote her to the board operator.
To the board operator? My board operator's pretty horny, and I'll tell you something.
Your board, what you got? Horny?
Horny.
You're horny now.
My board operator's horny. I'm too old to be horny.
That's correct. All you talk show hosts, you never have sex.
We never have sex. We're too busy. The RF gets down to our testicular vocal cords, and we're no longer able to have sex.
Don't say those words on the radio.
What, vocal cords?
Don't say those words. You know, you're stealing Neil's material.
Oh, no, I wouldn't steal anything from Neil, because if I stole something from Neil, he's got 5 days with which to cut me up into little pieces all week.
I think that's already been done to you.
I think you're right. Being cut up by Neil is the best thing that can happen to a talk show host in this time.
I gotta go because my dog's waiting. I have to feed him.
Okay, I got one word for you.
Don't say it.
Bismashuggy. Tyrone, how are you today?
Hello, Ernie.
How you doing?
Let me ask you a question now.
Go ahead.
I don't like your show.
Well, I'm glad you're listening, though.
Well, but I think you hold some communist beliefs.
Me? Moi? A communist belief? You know what I was reading last night?
You criticizing God, making...
You know what I was reading last night, Tyrone, just to add to your beliefs? I was reading Chairman Mayo's Red Book. Do you believe that?
I think you believe in the Daily Prophet.
I believe in what? What do I believe in, Tyrone?
You believe in the iron and sickle. I bet you got a bumper sticker on your car. It says a commie for your mommy.
A commie for your mommy.
Tell the truth now. You're a communist, and I hate communists, and may you burn in.
Why am I a communist? Hello, Tyrone. Hello, Tyrone. Tyrone, you don't want to talk to me, Tyrone? How often do you ever get to talk to a communist, Tyrone? I give you a chance to talk to a communist and a commie for your mommy. Folks, I'm glad you got to hear that call, because I would bet, I don't know Tyrone, but I would bet that Tyrone is one of those religious fanatic nuts who probably pours all kinds of money into some religious organization, and the mere thought that he may be doing something wrong, that he could be helping people, for example, through Radio Aid or something else, would never enter his mind. And the mere thought that somebody would even suggest that some of the institutions that he holds sacred may be subject to criticism, he's got to get on the phone and say nasty stuff. But you notice he didn't stay around to have a conversation with me, because people like that are not capable of conversing. You all know that. Because once you take their little Bible or whatever book they have and they can't talk about Luke 14 and John's 13 and all those other things, they are lost because they don't have a mind of their own. They've been turned into lemmings. They follow. They don't think. They don't reason. All they do is use that one little book to answer everything. Remember I did my Bib-I show and I eliminated the book and I gave numbers. I assigned numbers. So that instead of having to debate with someone, if someone mentioned, for example, abortion, you could say number 27. Or homosexuality, you could say number 16. And instead of having to say, well, in Luke 14, you just give a number, and that would end the argument. And I had a lot of people write to me because they wanted a list of these numbers so that they could answer all their arguments that way. Hi, Shirley. Shirley's gone, too? What happened to Shirley? She went with Tyrone. Okay, let's go to Frank.
Hello.
How are you, Frank?
Fine.
You think I'm a communist too? I hope not.
Ernie, I think you're the greatest thing.
Yeah, don't you hope that Tyrone would have gotten some kind of message out of what we did the previous couple of hours? But, I guarantee you went right over his narrow head.
Exactly.
Right over. Thanks
for that he called.
I'm glad he called because we have to know that there are people out there like that, and they are the greatest danger. You talk about communists. Those people with that thinking, in my mind, are the greatest danger to our society today. I think they pose more of a threat with their hatred, their bigotry, and everything else than the communists or you name any group.
Maybe you couldn't keep them on, and perhaps...
Because they have nothing to say. Don't you understand? They never have anything to say. When you give them a chance to say something, they can't. They don't know what to say.
My wife is a tough Irish broad from Chicago.
Yeah.
She just leaned in there. She's listening to you.
They call, collect. Even you, Tyrone. Even if you want to call back and talk, I'd be glad to. But, Tyrone, you've got nothing to say. To just get on the air and call someone names, call them a communist, do you think that's going to get me angry? It's not going to get me angry. I've been called worse than a communist. I've been called a Jew. But I won't say the rest of it. But I've been called lots and lots of things. And the people that call me those things... I feel sorry for them. And if I was religious, I'd say, the Lord help you. But the Lord isn't going to help you. You're going to have to help yourself. Take it from me. If you don't help yourself, no one's going to help you. Hi, Leonard.
How are you?
Good. If you're not there, I can't talk to you. Even God couldn't do that. Hello, Biff.
Hello, Biff.
Yeah, Biff. I remember you. You were in Death of a Salesman.
That's right.
You were Willie Loman's son.
Yes, and this is Biff coming up.
How you doing?
I live in the Redlands.
Okay.
Down in Homestead. I usually can't pick you up sometimes at night, but around after 6 o'clock you fade out. So I drove up a little bit closer because I wanted to hear the ending of your show.
Oh, well, I'm glad you did.
And I was hearing some of these people attacking you, and in some cases I agree with them.
Okay.
Though that man didn't say why you're a communist, but I'll tell you why you probably are one.
You think I'm a communist too, huh?
I think you're on the verge of it.
The verge of it? At least I haven't gone all the way over to communism, right? Why do you say that?
Okay, number one, you criticizing God.
That makes me a communist?
You taking his name in vain.
I didn't take his name in vain.
Oh, yes, you did.
Yeah. Now, why does that make me a communist? There are a lot of people in this country who do not believe in God in the conventional way. They're not all communists.
Yes, they are.
Oh, all right. So, in other words, that is your description of a communist.
I know, that's one. There's some other things.
Okay, what else?
You also... What was that? You hear that?
What's that?
I don't know. I heard something.
No, I don't hear anything, although I'm afraid you may be hearing things.
Okay, and the other thing is, I was listening to you in the past, and you were against gun control. I mean, you want gun control.
Yeah.
And who won't let his other people have his gun.
Right.
Has to be one, because then he can't protect us from the communists.
Right. You need those guns to protect us from the communists. Boy, when they invade Harlingen, Texas, man, we're going to need our guns.
You ain't gonna see all the military people be out in the missile silos never coming out there to protect us.
They're going to be there protecting us.
Have our guns.
Right. When the Russians invade, right?
And then the second thing you talking about sex and all these things.
Yeah, we're going to do away with that.
Because you got all them communists there.
Yeah.
And then in Russia, they don't let you freely speak, and I heard you hang up on Tyrone.
Right. They can't speak in Russia.
I hear you hang up on some other people, too.
Yeah. And I guess you're right.
Every time anybody hits close to home, you hang up on them because you know that you're a communist supporter, at least.
Yeah,
and
I
you
guess.
always were talking nicely about that you always bad-mouthing John Broward, who was always doing a great service.
Fine gentleman, John Broward. Fine gentleman.
You understand what I'm saying? So don't you agree with
Brilliant
my
man.
point?
Multi-dimensional man, John Broward. Very intelligent.
Good man. He was a good man.
Fine gentleman.
The only
yeah.
one
Who told the truth, right?
that's
Told it
right.
like
He
it
was the
was.
only one giving the points.
Man, he got after them communists. Boy, he wouldn't let those communists take our
There they
guns
go.
away.
That's probably him right now saying thank you. So I got to go now, but I still say you're a communist, and you know it.
Did I hang up on him, Carlos? Matter of fact, did I hang up on Tyrone? I don't think I hung up on Tyrone. I didn't hang up on either one of them. Isn't that something? Well, that's it. I guess I don't really agree with what John Broward has to say, so that must make me a communist. Did I ever tell you, Carlos, the story about John Broward? I took my wife one time to introduce her to John Broward. He was doing a remote at Cutler Ridge, and I said, gee, I'd like her to meet the people I work with at WINZ. Tell us just really what's going on in your mind. Oh, boy, folks, you know something? It really frightens me because Biff and Tyrone are two, but I'm afraid that there are more of them out there. I really believe that there are more people like Biff and Tyrone out there, and that is a frightening thought. You talk about the cerebral cortex getting screwed up. Let's go to Albert.
Yes, Ernie, it's a privilege to talk to a communist like you.
Yeah, it's hard to. You don't find too many of them around anymore.
So much so that I wish your kind of communism were broadcast 5 or 6 days a week instead of these idiots that call you up that are their idols like Broward, etc. How are these nincompoops, these imbeciles?
I'm glad he finally mentioned John Broward, because if not, I wasn't sure where he was coming from. As soon as he mentioned John Broward, I knew from whence he spoke.
You know, after a program like this, the God Show is excellent, brilliant. You have a mind that's as fertile as well, what's fertile around Florida?
Well, I don't know. Maybe the new center downtown Miami, whatever they call it there. I'm going there tomorrow. What's it called, Carlos? The Seas? God, isn't that something? I got to draw a blank here. Sea Isle or whatever. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about.
Your God Show is tremendous. I'm sorry you didn't fall.
Communist, right?
Right. Also about God. You know, WMCU and these religious stations, they wouldn't even think of having God on the air.
You think God would go to one of those places? He wouldn't